cheap housing. Thank you, gentlemen, for coming. Also, let me start by you telling us more about your company. What do you mean when you say you are involved in cheap housing?
Actually, when we come to Kenya about 2.5 years ago, it was actually expensive house. So we start the production, and then we use the advantage of the low labor cost. Then we start the production of the construction material in our factory. Actually, it's not only a construction company, we are a group. In Meritini, we set up a factory. It's laying down in 4 acres closed area. And we produce roof tiles, and EPS, kitchen cabinets, doors, acrylic, shower trays, kitchen sinks. But we don't sell to market, but we are using in our construction. So we lower down the cost so much. And then, you know, that land costs are going very high. We are looking for some place to affordable to purchase the land and make a big compound like a minimum 400 houses, which is our project. One is 1,300, another is 400 houses.
Now, Osman, when we talk about cheap housing, you're saying that you've introduced new products, new materials in the market. Is it different from the conventional way of building where you have sand, cement, and stone? What is different about it?
Okay, let me explain you. When I come to this country 2.5 years ago, I explain everyone the construction material that you are using in Kenya. It's a very low quality, especially cement. I'm not telling bad about the industry because of the employment, but none of the world countries using 32.5 cement as a construction cement. It's only for plastering. Actually, it's not so much technical. I can explain like that. 42.5 cement means if you make a block of cement and lay down for 20 days, if you pressurize up to 42.5 kilonewton, we call it 42.5. Another one is a 32.5. I'm also shareholder, the biggest cement factory in Europe, and what I can tell you, our method, our technology is already tested by SAP 2000, strengthness of the building construction. But nowadays, as you see, most of the buildings are collapsing, and Kenya has a good advantage. It's an earthquake-free zone.
Okay. Great. David, thank you for coming. Maybe you can start by telling us, as someone who's been in the industry for quite some time, what are the trends that we're seeing when it comes to cheap housing?
Thank you. Maybe the first thing I would like to say that it may not be very good to speak about cheap housing. We call it affordable housing because nobody would like to live in a cheap house. However, the trends has been for the last 10 to 15 years, the prices of housing has been escalating, and more so because of the price of land within the peri-urban. And the biggest problem that we have is that locks out more people who would like to own homes. So as a housing finance, we are always involved in all the endeavors to make sure that every Kenyan, every person who wants to invest in real estate, in housing in particular, at least gets a roof over his or her head. But the trends in this country have locked most of the people, especially the middle and low income earners. Indeed, they have been locked out in owning a home. And therefore, you find that they are using most of their income for paying rent. And we try to stand in that gap, to be able to bridge that gap, because it is widening day after day as the prices of properties escalate.
And what would you attribute the prices, like you said, of property and also building to? Is it the high cost of living, which you have been talking about, the impact of the shilling always going down on the economy?
It is a couple of factors that do that, and the biggest component within the building is actually the cost of land. The cost of land has rocketed in Kenya for the last 5-10 years. It has gone more than 10 times. In addition to that, we have the cost of the building material. We are talking about cement. We are talking about, tiles or iron sheets. We are talking about, wires. We are talking about timber. We are talking about all the building materials. And the biggest factor that has come into it is actually the inflation, because the inflation affects mostly the household. And therefore, people must make what we call an opportunity cost. Do I use the income that I have to feed the family or take care of the household goods, or do I invest in housing? And you find that the net surplus, net in terms of the income, for many families is actually negative. And therefore, since our call as housing finance is to make sure that at least people own homes, we must go ahead and see how can we look for alternatives so that these people can own homes. And therefore, hence, looking for partners like Elsek Group to see how we can give Kenyans homes which they would live in.
And is it already something that is in the process, something that is in, or is something which is in the pipeline?
We have actually started as we speak, because I'm sure our partner, Osman Group, will tell you what he has done. We led him to doing even, something for the universities. I'm sure he will be talking about that. But currently what we are doing, there is a project of 308 units in Kikambala in Mtwapa, which we are involved in. And I will tell you even before he speaks, a 2-bedroom house going for 1.8 in this country, within, the urban, within the Mtwapa area, that has never happened. We're involved in it. How? We are financing the buyers. We are helping him to sell, because at housing finance, without talking too much, is we have a department or a company known as Property Point. Property Point is aimed at adding value in terms of selling. If you are a developer or a person doing real estate business like Osman, we would like him to concentrate in what he knows best, constructing. He should not get bothered where the buyers will come from. As a housing finance, because we don't do anything else apart from mortgage financing, then we look for the buyers for him, and we even give them money for those who would like to buy. So we are already on the ground as we speak.
Okay.
Yes.
And Osman, what has been the reception to these new ideas? Of course, he's mentioned that you have a project going on in Kikambala. Are there other areas in Kenya where you have this project started?
Right.
And how's the reception?
Let me tell you the background of the company. Within 2 years, we did the Presbyterian University of East Africa, and then Rwanda Tourism University, and some Meru project for the Japanese company who are doing the ports there, in Lamu also, and then Spanish Embassy in Juba, and some United Nations houses in Juba also. And now we have started for the individuals with the cooperation of Housing Finance and our financial with the Bank of Africa. We start in Kikambala, and now we are starting within 2-3 months in Kikambala area. And also we will start in the Eldoret. And we have another project which is coming in, let's say 3-4 months, in Uganda, again 1,300 houses.
Okay. David, maybe you could take us, I really want to understand the differences between the conventional way of building and construction and this new technology that has come. What are the main differences?
The main difference is from the conventional, building, where especially Kenyans and most Africans who would like just to have a brick and mortar, and that is what they believe is a house. What is normally used in the new building technology, of course there are many. They are interlocking blocks, but that is not what Osman and Group are using. They are using the prefabricated, metals, panels, and again to reinforce it, they even also do what we call the plastering. And when you look at the strength and the firmness of that house, the difference is the same. When we talk about durability, we are talking about the same durability. If you travel, across, the world, you will find that this technology has been used since, and people are using these houses. I think it is only a change of the perception to make sure that at least people acknowledge that the conventional building and the new building technology, the difference is the same.
Osman, we've just been taking a look at some of the houses that have been built using this new technology, and we see most of them are bungalows. Is it possible for mansions and flat apartments?
Okay, I would like to clear out one point between conventional buildings and our technology. First of all, there is a calculation of the construction. If we are talking about the durability, they are using the same program for calculating the strength of the houses or construction. So it is the same calculation method what we are using in this technology. On the other hand, our construction type has been approved by the Kenya Bureau of Standards, Architect Association of Kenya, Engineer Association of Kenya, municipals, Ministry of Housing and Ministry of Works as a permanent building. So that means there is no difference between the conventional and our technology. Only difference is the low cost. Another, what you asked me, we have no difference than the other buildings. Like as you see, just on your behind, there's a maybe 50-story building. If you don't use steel, this building can be collapsed. So what we are using is a light steel technology. We can go up to 100 story if we use the heavy steel. But for 5 story, we can go with the light steel.
And how long does it take to construct?
Actually, when we start project like a 1,300 houses or like 300 houses in Kikambala, we can deliver every month like a 40, 42 houses. But first 3 months, we can do only 20, 25 because of the mobilization and then process to be in process.
So that's complete. The house is standing, ready
yes.
for.
Yes.
Wow. Okay. Maveki, just still on that, what do you think are some of the things that Kenyans do that they end up spending a lot of money when it comes to construction, as someone who's been in the business for some time?
In fact, what my colleague Osman just said is the most important thing. How long does it take to construct even a bungalow? Delivery period in terms of construction, somebody will be telling you between 4 and 6 months. That is totally unnecessary. In fact, the most important thing is the delivery time. How long do you take to be able to do the building? The new technology gives you within a very short time. He just said, you know, within 1 month you can deliver 20 to 30. What about one? It's a matter of days, 3-4 days, and you are done. And what I would like also to say is that these kind of houses are also having the normal foundation. It will just be steel. The normal foundation is there, and therefore uses the new technology to bring up.
And would you say this is the next step for real estate owners and business people who are coming up?
In fact, that would be my conclusion, that this is the next frontier in the real estate. Because when we look at the demand and the supply, the gap is widening day after day. And we can just take an example of a survey done last year between the Ministry of Finance and the World Bank. The previous year, the deficit was 150,000 houses per year. That gap has widened to 240,000 per year. And this can also be attributed to the time it takes to deliver those houses. A person doing, let's say, a project like the one that is happening at Kikambala, 308 units, will be for over 5 years. But this can be delivered within maximum 6 months. Therefore, it is important to note that this is the next frontier. Because I'm also aware that there are other people who have started, coming up with the factories, especially some arms of government. They have started coming up with the factories. And to me, this is the next frontier.
Well, that's actually what my next question was going to be. How are we getting the raw materials here? Because as you said, there's a factory which is producing all these building materials. Are they going to be more costly because we are going to import them, or are we going to have local factories coming up and actually supplying our construction sites with the raw materials?
All right. First of all, you know that high industry or heavy industry needs energy. Unless the Kenya does not solve the energy problems, heavy industry investment is a wrong investment. Like we cannot produce the steel and compete with the world market. We cannot produce the cement, which needs high energy, and compete with the world market. I can give you a very good sample. We are selling in Turkey $58 per ton of 42.5 OPC cement. Now when you come to Kenya, it's come to 186. Why? Because of the energy cost. Actually, labor costs are maybe 10% of Turkey. But what we are doing is a heavy investment, employs so much people. It's good for the economy of Kenya, but it's a wrong investment. So, if as investors in Kenya, if the kilowatts, if you have a machine to produce something more than 50 kilowatts, it is not compatible with the world market. That's why we are paying so much attention to compete with the market. For example, Kenya produce and export to India. Our factory export to India. We export 2 containers to New Zealand because we are using the advantage of the labor cost. But we can compete with the world market.
Okay. And just a practical example, if I want to build a 3-bedroom house, how much would it cost me and for how long?
That is a very good question. Typical Kenyan question. 3-bedroom house depends on 60 square meters up to 100 square meters or maybe 200 square meters. Actually, according to European standard, 3-bedroom house you can have it like as an individual around 2.2 million. But again, I'm telling, we have to talk about the square meters or square feet costing.
Let's just talk about the interiors as the viewers take a look at the pictures. You're saying that the interior is actually quite good. Are these some of the materials that you're saying are low cost?
Yeah. Actually, all the materials are in the world standards and Kenyan standards, many world standards approved. Mostly produced in Kenya. I can say about 82% of the production is in Turkey, in Kenya. You can see the shower tray, tubs, you know, everything except the tubs, produced in Kenya, in our factory. So what we do, we buy only the raw material, which is zero duty, which shows government wants people to produce. So thanks to the government that we don't pay any duty for production. But if you import something from China or something, you have to pay duty. On the other hand, our production, I can say, all the raw material, or if we import something, we have to receive a quality certificate, which proves 60 years guarantee. So, back to back, we are giving also 60 years guarantee for the houses.
60-year guarantee.
60, yes.
So if anything happens?
Anything happens will be replaced immediately and will claim to suppliers.
Alright, now going back to the question that I had asked earlier, a 3-bedroom house, and you're in the middle of explaining that. So how much would it cost me in which period?
Actually, we didn't start for the individuals. We did so little, about 5, 6. We are thinking about making a compound, big compound with the facilities. Facilities are so important. For example, in Kikambala project, we have a facility of free dispensary and kindergarten. NGO teachers will come, NGO doctors will come. We'll give you free of medication also. And we have a swimming pool, we have a shopping mall, and we have a 6 times service with the 45-seater bus to Mutfapa. And street lights are solar energy. And then what else? We are changing the sewage to methane gas for cooking gas. We are using as a cooking gas. So this type of facilities, and also CCTV will be on the gate. And if some of your visitors come, you can see from your camera inside the house. Then you let him come, or you don't allow to come. So this type of facilities you can give it in the big compound with a low cost. For example, if you want to put in your house one CCTV, I don't know how much will it cost. At least, let's say 100,000 shilling. But if you talk about the full compound, the CCTV, and if you divide by 300, it will come to only 300 shillings or something like that. So that's why, for the individuals, of course we can do, but main focus is this low and middle income earners. Because we understand in Kenya, there's a big gap. It's happened to me also when I started the Kikambala project. I don't want to say nationality, but some people come to me and say to me, I would like to have a whole compound. That's a bad thing. You know? They want to buy whole compound and they want to sell it with the high price again. It's against our policy. So we are focusing, not the 10% very high income people in Kenya. We are looking for a 60% low and middle income people.
And also with all the interior that we have seen and all the work put into those houses, at the end of the day, these houses are more affordable than the conventional ones.
Sure, definitely.
All right.
Definitely.
David, just in winding up, and maybe as your parting shot, what support do you need and from who to make sure that such projects are really embraced in the Kenyan market and also with real estate businesses?
Maybe just allow me to comment in terms of time, in terms of using the new building technology. A 3-bedroom house, how long or how much can it cost and how long it can take. Indeed, I can assure you, for example, the houses at Kikambala, I just want to give you a life example. A 4-bedroom house is going for 3.6, and it is a bungalow. You can imagine that kind of a value with the same finishes that you've seen on the other side. And it will take maximum, not even a week, your house will be ready for occupation. That is because of the new building technology. The kind of help that we expect is at least the stakeholders and the government should be able to lead in this, because when we have sessions with them, they're always telling us, take the lead, take the lead. I can assure you, without giving details, we are already in serious discussions with the government. They are working very hard through the Ministry of Housing so that they can bring even other investors into this country. And even the government is actually in the final stages of completing a factory for this new building technology. So I can tell you that it is already within the minds of the stakeholders, the government. The professionals within the building, code, they need to come in so that they can be able to give the confidence. Because the only challenge us as Kenyans that we have, we only believe our house is brick and mortar. Indeed, which is not the case. And therefore it becomes the biggest predicament in terms of acceptability.
And Maveka, just generally looking at the situation in the country, do you think this could be the solution to replacing slums with better housing?
Indeed, you are very right. This is the solution. Because even if, for example, the cost of construction is lower, even if the slums, people may not be able to buy now, we can have investors buying and renting them at affordable rents. And the way to clear is because of the time it takes to come up with the buildings. Indeed, I agree with you. This is the best solution now to be able to work on our slums.
Osman, maybe a parting shot? A parting shot.
Yeah, we have so much demand on this type of houses. And then housing finance is doing the financing. As a company also we are doing the financing. And Bank of Africa is doing financing. Another bank is approached to us for financing. I think it would be a good solution for Kenya to be a household owner. And then instead of paying a rent, the payment terms are the same as paying a rent. So I think the Kenyans will have a house.
Okay. Thank you so much, gentlemen. It's been great. And of course, I wish you well. I hope that more Kenyans will turn to affordable housing, like you said earlier, or not cheap housing, affordable housing. Great, thank you so much. Well, we have been talking to Osman Elsek, the CEO of Elsek Construction Company, a company that says they can give you a good house with an affordable price, and also David Maveke, the sales general manager at Housing Finance. Well, right now I give it to James Karan, who's going to be speaking to officials from the Molino Society Circle. He's going to be telling us more about what the circle has been doing, and you'll be